A Japanese school teacher loses his job after being caught working a second job at a convenience store. Breast milk ice cream debuts and is available for purchase nationwide. And a man is arrested for doing home genital exams without a license. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, your only source for daily weird news in the form of an audio podcast. I'm your host, Jonesy. Got 3 kinky stories. Let's go. A Japanese school teacher was fired after they discovered that he was working a second job at a convenience store. It's hard not to have a sinking feeling when you hear about a middle school teacher being reprimanded for some inappropriate behavior. Was the educator involved in some sort of sexual impropriety? Or perhaps it's a case of physical abuse, with a teacher taking out their frustrations on their pupils by, assaulting them, maybe running a fight club. I've even covered stories about teachers bringing Jell-O shots to the class and or cannabis-infused treats for the kids. So this is a surprising story out of Japan where a teacher's been fired for not doing any of these things, but rather just having a side hustle. We have here a middle school teacher in Okayama Prefecture who was spotted in a convenience store doing something apparently inexcusable in the eyes of school administrators, actually working at the convenience store. Someone contacted the City Board of Education to report that they'd seen a man in his 60s who's a teacher at one of the city's public junior high schools working at a convenience store. So someone's ratting out this teacher, just trying to make ends meet by working a second job. Who's this person that ratted out the teacher? You know what they say about snitches, they get super stitches. Well, after this teacher got a dime dropped on him, the next day the principal of the school that the man teaches at made a trip to the convenience store in person to confirm with his own eyes that the teacher was in fact working a second job at the convenience store, and the principal confronted him about this matter. Now, to clarify, the teacher wasn't ditching classes or any responsibilities at the school in order to work at the convenience store. In fact, the day that the principal confronted him, it was a Saturday, the teacher's day off. So what's the problem, you're wondering? Convenience store clerk is broadly seen in Japan as being a respectable, honest position. So what's the problem? No, the problem turns out was that the man was doing any sort of work at all besides his regular teaching job at the school. It says here it's not unusual for employment contracts, and especially in government or public service areas in Japan, to include rules prohibiting side jobs. These aren't necessarily non-competition clauses, such as pledging to not work for another organization in the same area. Instead, they're blanket across-the-board promises not to earn money doing anything else. Oh, well, if you pay me a lot of money, I won't earn money anywhere else. That's it. It always comes down to the amount of money that we're all making. That usually determines whether or not we need a second side hustle here. So, the question then is, how much do they pay these teachers? How much did they pay this teacher? Let's keep reading. It says, presumably the logic behind this is that the employer wants the worker to focus all of their energy on their primary job, viewing a side job as something that will cut into the focus and recovery time necessary to keep them working in peak condition. So they want you 100% dedicated. They want you all in on your one crappy paying job, and you can't go get a second job. Well, then how am I supposed to pay for my side chick if I don't have a side hustle? Well, it's just simple math at this point, everyone. Okay, back to the details. The school thinks that a teacher who's working a second job will do a poor job teaching his classes, or at least wants to prevent parents from having such fears. It also says after the teacher was caught by the principal, it came to light that he's been working part-time at the convenience store outside of school hours since November 2023. When asked why he'd taken on a second job, apparently the teacher said that he'd been doing it to, quote, supplement his earnings in response to changes in his living circumstances. You mean popping bottles, brah? I think he means popping bottles at the club. Brah. He's 60 years old, by the way. They're harassing a 60-year-old man for getting a second job. Maybe his wife passed away, and now he's got to pick it up. There could be many circumstances in which a 60-year-old man can't afford to live on a single teacher's salary. Have you heard of medications? Pharmaceuticals? Have you heard of this stuff? This is what happens when you're 60. You need these things called MRIs and X-rays and scans, lots of scans. It's a life of scans, really, when you hit 60. It's just so many scans and a lot of blood taking of the blood. You're just giving blood and getting scanned. That's the life of a 60-plus-year-old. Yeah, and last I checked, that crap isn't cheap. So, yeah, this guy was working a second job trying to get it together. Despite all this, the teacher had to issue a statement of apology. He says, regardless of my personal situation, my conduct was damaging to the trust of public educators and professional ethics, and I deeply regret my actions. I mean, bro, how could you even apologize after they fired you for this? I mean, you're 60 years old. What do you care at this point, what they think of you? I mean, at the age of 60, I'm going to be telling everybody where they can go screw, especially people that have wrongly treated me. I mean, you're going to get some extra words of encouragement in that department. You know, words that I learned as a teenager in Boston that I cannot say on this podcast. You follow me? The Board of Education also issued an apology about this guy to the parents and the kids. We deeply apologize for the great distress and worry that has been caused to the children, their guardians, and all the residents of the city. They vowed to take measurements to ensure such an incident would not happen again and to make efforts to restore trust in the educational system. Oh, yeah, your educational system's just going to come crumbling down because one 60-year-old teacher worked part-time in a 7-Eleven. Apologize to the students? Really? Really? You think the kids give a damn? Anybody living in Japan that's alarmed by this behavior ought to put it into something called context. From a worldwide scale, just take a peep at what's going on over here in the States, where you have teachers having to open up OnlyFans account and selling photos of their feet and bottles of their bathwater to make ends meet. I mean, that's how poorly they're paid as teachers here. My guess is they're paid equally as poorly over in Japan. Maybe maybe not. But this 60-year-old man can't get by. He's having an issue. Maybe he's got gambling debts. Maybe that's part of it too. We don't know the whole story, but my goodness. And now this poor guy, it says he's also stopped working at the convenience store as part of this fallout, or perhaps he was let go from the convenience store. He's about to go from 2 sources of income to none, and since apparently he doesn't have a large enough nest egg to just retire, it would seem he'll need to look for a new job. I mean, look at what's going on. This poor man. Yeah, this poor grandpa is going to have to become a drug mule or an iPhone mule. Don't use glue, Grandpa. Don't use glue. That's a callback from a story I did yesterday. Yeah, we do callbacks to previous stories, so I hope you're following along. Now, I looked this up to see what are the legalities of working a second job in Japan like this. Apparently, if you're a public servant of any sort, which teachers are, you're not allowed to hold 2 jobs by law. So what the school did is actually quite normal over there. They want 100% dedication. You got to be all in on that gig, even if it doesn't keep the lights on or allow you to eat 3 squares a day or take care of your credit card debt. Now, a lot of you are thinking, well, in that case, why don't you just quit your job and get another one? Well, there's a lot of pressure in Japan from your employers when you want to quit your job. So much so, it's so difficult and scary to quit a job in Japan that they have businesses that you can hire to quit your job for you. And I've covered this on Weird AF News before. Maybe you remember that story. Yeah, when you want to leave your job, you're too afraid to confront your superiors. You hire a firm and they send somebody over who stands up on the desk and urinates all over their keyboard and says, "Take this job and shove it." This is a message delivered on behalf of employee number 2301, Martin Johnson. Breast milk ice cream is debuting and will be available nationwide. Breast milk ice cream. What is going on? How are they getting this much breast milk? Oh, no, don't tell me they have some sort of underground human dairy farms out there making all this breast milk ice cream. What are we looking at? Lactation slaves somewhere in a factory? All right, well, let's get the details here before we sound the alarm on the breast milk ice cream. We have here a company called Frida. They're renowned for their baby products. They teamed up with a small batch ice cream maker called Oddfellows in order to introduce this unique ice cream flavor inspired by breast milk. Although not made with real breast milk. Well, that ruined my day. I wanted to try some breast milk ice cream, I'm not going to lie. Only if it was ethically sourced. All right, that's the caveat. All right, Weird AF News and Jonesy would only try breast milk ice cream that was ethically sourced. All right, just for the record. Yeah, I mean, I would have been down to try the breast milk ice cream. You know it's going to be sweeter than the other ice cream. Anyways, this is ice cream that's inspired by breast milk. I've been inspired by breast milk my entire life, ever since I came out of the womb. Just saying. Now, let me reiterate. It says, although not made with real breast milk, the creators claim it tastes remarkably similar to breast milk. The flavor is described as freshly expressed and oddly familiar, combines sweet and salty notes with hints of honey, and features a distinct yellow colostrum-like hue. Colostrum hue. All right, these are words I don't know. The ice cream was developed through multiple tastings, incorporating cow's milk ingredients and colostrum powder to mimic the nutrients found in breast milk. Oh, so colostrum must be some sort of breast milk nutrient powder. We're all learning here. Actually, no, I'm just learning here. You probably already know this because you're smarter than me. Now, the company Frida wrote that their breast milk flavored ice cream, quote, satisfies late-night cravings and fuels your body as well, adding that it is, quote, packed with similar nutrients to breast milk and formula, which include the following: lactose, protein, vitamins, minerals, omega-3s. Hey. The breast milk ice cream is available for a limited time at a pop-up location in Brooklyn, New York, and for national shipment at Frida.com. I'm surprised it's not offered at Trader Joe's, because Trader Joe's has very strange flavors over there. They got like tuna-flavored ice cream over there. I wouldn't be surprised to see the breast milk-flavored ice cream in the store there. I lied about the tuna thing, but you just use your imagination, okay? Just go with it. Now, after looking into this article here, I was wondering, have they ever made ice cream out of real human breast milk ever? And turns out, yes, they did. I found a story out of the UK, 2011. A restaurant in London's Covent Garden served up a range of ice cream made with breast milk. The dessert was called Baby Gaga, and it was churned with donations from London mother Victoria Hiley and served with a rusk and an optional shot of Calpol or Bonjela. I don't even know what these are. This is like obviously expensive restaurant terminology. Now, if you're asking me how do I want my breast milk served, it's probably going to be in the form of an affogato. That's about as fancy as I get. Now, back then, this breast milk ice cream, Baby Gaga, was served at a cost of about £14. So that was in 2011. So you're looking at over $20 a serving, probably for real human breast milk if they were to do it now. And what a great side gig for a mom. Make a little extra cash out of your breast milk. Why not? As long as you're not a teacher in Japan, it should be okay, right?
Are you ready to dairy-free your mind? This summer, melt away your dairy-free expectations with So Delicious dairy-free frozen desserts. Enjoy mind-blowing flavors like salted caramel cluster, chocolate cookies and cream, cookie dough, and more. For over 35 years, So Delicious has been cranking up the flavor with show-stopping products that are 100% dairy-free, certified vegan by Vegan Action, and are so unbelievably creamy, your taste buds will do a double take. Dairy-free your mind. Visit SoDeliciousDairyFree.com.
A man was arrested for performing home genital exams without a license. The story is out of Cincinnati. A local man has been found guilty of practicing medicine with only a training license, and he was luring men to his apartment in order to perform ultrasounds on their genitals. This guy ought to move to Texas. They'll make him the Surgeon General. According to the complaints, this man, Radul Saunders, told some men that he needed to complete a certain number of ultrasounds for his medical training program. So he was actually legitimately in a medical training program? For some reason, I doubt that. Saunders allegedly performed the ultrasounds in his bedroom apartment with no supervision whatsoever. So wait, if he had had supervision, then he would have been allowed to perform ultrasounds on genitals in his home? Is that how it works? Wow, today I just learned you can get a license to practice home genital inspections. Who knew? What do I have to do? Just pass an oral exam? Hey! Okay, as I had more questions than answers, I went and looked up another article about this, and it turns out Rudell Saunders had his license suspended by the Medical Board of Ohio after he was suspended for ultrasound examinations at his home. So he did have a license at some point. He was conducting what are called testicular ultrasounds and doing this in his home. How did he convince people to allow him to do that in his home? I know it says he told them that he needed a certain amount of training hours of testicular ultrasounds, but still, I mean, who's going to go with that? I mean, maybe he was offering some sort of stipend or payment or something for their time. I mean, but even then, I mean, how do you, I mean, once you find out it's happening in a living room, I mean, how do you go, hey, doc, what's with the silk robe and the Teddy Pendergrass music? What is going on here? Is sedation normal for this procedure? Seems weird. Doctor, for the ultrasound, do you really need me aroused? I mean, the red flags here. They interviewed a patient in this article I have here who said that he was surprised when he was told the ultrasound would be conducted at Saunders' home instead of a hospital or a clinical setting. According to the patient/victim, Saunders told him that he was, quote, just a new doctor and needed further experience. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, say less, buddy. Say less. Come on. Now, according to the court documents, the patient/victim told his wife after the ultrasound that he felt, quote, weirded out. Wow, no way. You felt weirded out that a strange medical student brought you to his own apartment and conducted a testicular ultrasound on your balls in his bedroom? Weirded out? Get out of here. How do you explain to your wife that you even agreed to this in the first place? I would have said nothing to nobody. This goes to your grave, dude. What's wrong with you? Telling your wife, I mean, could you look like any more of a stupid head? You tell nobody that this happened to you. Now, you're probably wondering, as I was, how did this Sanders find men to lure over to his apartment so then he could examine their junk with some equipment? Well, apparently he made connections through a running club or a running application. So professional runners or whatever, a running club of some sort. I mean, it still doesn't make much sense. How do you go from like, oh, you want to go for a run tomorrow in the park to like, hey, you want to come over to my kitchen and take off your pants? I mean, how do you go from A to B? Now, the article says a chief enforcement officer for the state medical board testified that Saunders was to have all contact with patients, quote, under proper supervision and not done outside of the hospital. Yeah, obviously. Per the court documents, during an interview with the state medical board, Saunders admitted that he did ultrasounds on runners that he met and bought an ultrasound device on his own to use at home. See, he's just spilling the beans as well. This guy Saunders don't give a damn. It's like, what did I do wrong? I don't understand. I'm accruing hours towards my medical license here. You know, I'm using the equipment that you told me. I'm using it the way that, well, I'm not really using it the way you told me, but there's a bit of that in there. You know, I just happen to be, there's a little extra groping involved, but I thought I was doing them a favor, you know? And I put the video up online, but I mean, I was going to split the profits with my patients, obviously. You know, it's their genitalia, not mine. You know, I'm not going to take all the profit here. Now, do I need to say this? I mean, it's sounding like a broken record here on the Weird AF News podcast. I've done so many episodes of these unlicensed doctors and dentists operating out of their kitchens. Now, I don't need to say this again, that, you know, if someone brings you to their home to do a medical examination, you just walk away. It's very simple. I mean, unless you're lonely and they're very attractive. And then you say, well, I mean, let's see where this goes this afternoon.
Right now, at the Home Depot, you'll find storage solutions made to fit your needs. Grab an HDX Tough Tilt to protect your tools. Or keep your sports equipment contained with reinforced snap-fit lids. Or stack up and make better use of your space with bins and totes built to last. Whatever you're storing, we've got the gear to keep it organized and protected at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Hello, my peeps, my friends, my weirdos, listeners, and supporters of the Weird AF News podcast. Thank you so much for spending some time with me in this episode. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that sent me stories the last couple of days. You can always email me, funnyjones@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram @funnyjones. Don't hesitate. Slide into my DMs, introduce yourself, say hello. We can have a dialogue of some sort. And please drop a link in there to whatever story it is that you think is appropriate for the podcast. May it be weird and hopefully funny. But if it's not funny, I'll do my best to make it funny. You know, I'm not batting 1,000 in this department, but we're doing okay. You know, I'm probably batting Ichiro which is pretty good. He's in the Hall of Fame now. So anyway, we're about to hit the 20-minute mark, and I don't like to go over 20 minutes on these episodes. It's a little much. There's a lot of podcasts out there that are just way too long. I don't want to be one of those guys, so I'll let you go. If you would like to support the show, check out my website, weirdafnews.com, and we'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Weird AF News. Thank you for your time.